capsule of cupuli, deposited on the site of the New York World's Fair on September 23, 1938, by the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company. If anyone should come upon this capsule before the year AD 6939, let him not wantonly disturb it, for to do so would be to deprive the people of that era of the legacy here left them. Cherish it, therefore, in a safe place.
5,000 years from now, the peoples of the future will look back on us as we look back on the early Egyptians and Babylonians. The time capsule down there is actually a message from our time to theirs. Those who open and study it will know more about us than any man living today.
But Jim, how in the world do you know it'll last so long?
Because the copper tools of the ancients have come down to us from even farther back. The capsule is made of a still better copper alloy called cupuli. It's hard as steel and equal to pure copper in resistance to corrosion.
Well, what I'm wondering is how anybody will know how to find it in the year, what was it, 6939?
How to find it, what's in it. In fact, everything about it was printed in a book of record of the time capsule. It's on permanent paper and it's been distributed throughout the world. To libraries, museums, lamasseries, monasteries, temples, every safe place imaginable.
Well, who picked the stuff that was to go in it, Jim?
A committee, aided by authorities in every field of science and the arts. It's a complete record of our civilization.
Is this exactly like the capsule?
Yes, and it's cut away so you can see how it's packed. These side cases show you the variety of things in it.
Look, there's a woman's hand.
The ladies had to reveal a lot about us to future scientists.
It sure will. They'll think we're nuts.
Are these little reels the microfile?
Yes. It's hard to believe, but on these small reels of film are reproduced all these books, papers, and magazines. It's a record of 10 million words and 1,000 pictures.
Well, how will they read them?
A small microscope is included. But there are also instructions how to make a large reading machine. Also, how to make a motion picture projector for the 3 special newsreels.
I suppose cloth and things like that are in it, too.
Everything from samples of fabrics to a dozen different kinds of common seeds.
I'll bet a nickel I know something that isn't in it. Mickey Mouse.
You'd lose, Bud. Mickey Mouse, Dick Tracy, Barney Google, they're all there. Even toys and money. Why, the list of contents alone takes up 17 pages of fine print.
Boy, they weren't fooling when they made that capsule, were they?
It's the brains of the world done up in a small package. And it's the most permanent exhibit at the fair. It'll still be here when the rest of this place is nothing but dust.
It is 1626. Along the rocky New England coast, there are several new settlements. It's a small community numbering scarcely more than 30 people. Robert Trent here is a fisherman. He built this bark wigwam with Albert Sims and Jason Conway. As yet, there are few women in Nomkeg. The beds are hung up like this every morning, but the fire's dying out is a rare occurrence. Over at the Fox dugout nearby, morning tasks are likewise underway. Mr. Fox is hewing newly felled fir. That's something that has to be done in carving a home out of a wilderness. Lucinda Fox is grinding Indian corn, a food important to all the settlers, while Brother Oliver milks the family goat, a highly prized possession brought from England. And now, Jason has laid the new fire and must borrow a live ember to light it. Here he is at the Fox place.
Would there be an ember in your fire for some careless bachelors, John?
That there would, Jason, and you'll be welcome. Do but speak of it to Susan.
The Nomkeg settlers share dangers together, and they gladly share comforts, too.
How seems Master Robert today, Mistress Fox?
I fear me there is little change. The fever has not left him these many days.
One day, when you're well again, laddie, you can hunt deer with Jason.
The fireplace doesn't always give adequate heat, especially when there is sickness in the house, sickness that may be very serious. In the gardens of the settlement, medicinal herbs are grown, some of local origin and others transplanted from England. Mistress Lane, who is skilled in their preparation and use, supervises a selection to be used in a special broth. Later, she carries her preparation to a case of serious illness in the home of Harold Perry.
Here is a draught of herbs, fresh brewed for Mistress Perry.
'Tis most timely and welcome, for the pain is still sharp.
Yes, there is still sickness, and there is still the helpfulness of neighbor toward neighbor. There has to be in a new land where the settlers face the uncertainties of a new way of life. Mistress Perry knows that building a better world requires courage and faith. And these men writing back to England, they know that too.
We are sorry to send back the ship without better lading, but there be much sickness among us, and many of our number lack strength to survive the winter's cold. Yet, for the most, we remain of good heart and make what haste we can to build our plantation. Among our number there be those of divers motives, some mainly prizing liberty of conscience, and some chiefly seeking worldly gain. Yet we form one body politic, joined by common consent.
This. Let's go.
Did you ever think of a locomotive as lazy? Does sound mighty strange, but as a matter of fact, nothing in this world likes to get going. All things are lazy.
Things will be developed because of this nation's imperishable heritage of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is this that has given us all of the industrial progress that we have achieved in the past and a certainty of progress in the future. A certainty as long as this great gift of liberty, individual liberty to grow greater and better, is valued and protected. You are descendants of pioneers. But you are also pioneers. Opportunities still rise from every smokestack, every test tube, every laboratory, every workshop in the land. You have come a long way from the drudgery of the blacksmith shop, and that's more wealth for all in the years to come. The test tube of science holds television, the wings of tomorrow, new types of houses, air conditioning, streamlined trains, Unnumbered things will be developed because of this nation's imperishable heritage of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is this that has given us all of the industrial progress that we have achieved in the past and a certainty of progress in the future. A certainty as long as this great gift of liberty, individual liberty to grow greater and better, is valued and protected. You are descendants of pioneers, but you are also pioneers. Opportunities still rise from every smokestack, every test tube, every laboratory, every workshop in the land. You have come a long way from the drudgery of the blacksmith shop and the hand labor of that day. But your journey forward has just started, because this is America.
Where do we go from here? Straight ahead and don't spare the horses.
Horses, your grandfather. There aren't any more horses.
My grandfather. I wonder what our grandparents would say if they could see the world as it is now.
Great work, kids. Carry on.
Carry on what?
The heritage they handed us. Freedom. Individual initiative. Opportunity.
Let's go, America!
12 o'clock, and time for the headlines of the latest news of the day. According to the latest bulletins...
How are the sandwiches coming, Mom? Almost ready. They're so easy to do, even your dad can put them together and do a dandy broiling job on them.
Dad kind of fancies himself quite a cook since we got our electric range, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm, and he's pretty good at it, too. Let's have cocoa today. It'll just take a few seconds to heat up the milk.
Okay, I'll be finished in half a sec. Mother, wouldn't it be slick if we had an electric ironer, like Sally's mother has?
Of course it would. And I'm looking forward to having an electric dryer, too. Just think. Then we'd have a complete electric laundry.
Whee!
We? What?
Why, goodbye, old wash day. That's why the wee.
Really, Snody. Come on now, eat your lunch. You'll feel better.
I feel fine. This tastes yummy. I just love bacon crisp and crunchy like this.
Honey, stop wolfing your food. No one's going to take it away from you.
Sorry, sweetie, but it's really your fault. You shouldn't make them so good.
Oh, I almost forgot. A letter from Bob.
Another letter? Thought he was coming home tomorrow.
He is. He wrote to say he's bringing a friend with him.
What does he say? About the friend, I mean. Is he tall, dark, and handsome, I hope?
Well, here's what he says. Alex is a real great guy, even though he's serious-minded and tops in all his classes. He's got a job lined up with a construction gang near us, and I knew you wouldn't mind if he spent a few days with me, since it's the end of the term.
Say, pretty dull.
Alex has little time for girls.
I knew it. I'll bet he doesn't even dance.
And is quite a woman-hater in his way. Well, well.
For Pete's sake, wouldn't you know that goon brother of mine would bring home something that lives under a rock?
Judy, I do wish you'd speak English like normal human beings. Besides, I'm sure Mr. Phipps is a very nice young man.
I know. But just because Bob is a book cook, there's no reason he has to bring another one home with him.
Well, we'll see. Oh, there's a special message for you. And be sure and tell Judy to keep her grimy little paws off of my friend. He's got no time for babies.
What's his name again?
Alexander Phipps.
Alexander Phipps? Sounds revolting. Whatever made my dear brother think I'd be interested in a character with a name like that? As far as Mr. Alexander Phipps is concerned, he'll be left alone. Strictly alone. And with the greatest of pleasure.
Judy, isn't it about time you got dressed, dear?
I'm dressed.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. Go put on a dress before they get here.
For him? Okay, but nobody named Alexander Phipps would ever notice what I had on. Jeepers! Is he cool? Really cool. Yikes! Mother! They're here! And look at me, I'm a mess!
Well, what do you care? Remember? His name is Alexander Phipps.
Oh, wait till I get that brother of mine alone!
Hi, Mom. Oh, gee, it's good to be home. Oh, Mom, this is Alex.
Hello, Alex. We're very happy to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Adams. It's nice of you to have me.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me. You're the twin without the Tony. Alex, this is the little sister I was telling you about. Judy, Alexander Phipps.
How do you do, Mr. Phipps? So nice you could come.
Oh, thanks, Judy. And the name is Alex.
Did you boys have your lunch?
Oh, no. We didn't want to miss another one of your meals. Besides, we wanted to catch a shower.
Well, okay, run along then. I'll have everything ready by the time you get back.
Right. Oh, Mom, how about some of those hot biscuits of yours,
All right, hot biscuits. Judy will make some for you.
Judy? I didn't know she could. Come on out.
Oh, that sounds real good, and thanks.
Mother, you do the biscuits, huh?
Well, it'll only take you a moment, Judy.
Thanks, Angel. I think I will throw on a dress. More ladylike, don't you think so?
Yes, dear, but Alexander Phipps will never notice that.
You're a doll, Mother.
Sure do get a smooth shave with this electric razor. Hope your dad won't mind.
No, you won't mind a bit. He always lets me use it when I'm home. Dad's a swell guy. You'll like it.
Hey, you're not running out of hot water, are you?
What?
I said, you're not running out of hot water, are you? I stayed under quite a long time.
Oh, don't worry about that. Wait till you see the electric water heater Dad got us. We're loaded now. We have plenty of hot water all the time.
Long distance. Long distance. Long distance.
Millions of times every day in America, a voice on a wire briefly and simply identifies itself in two words: long distance. These words form one of the most familiar phrases of our language. It is a phrase that announces an unseen personality, an alert young woman who needs to know only who or where in order to make a path for speech to town or countryside over the horizon. It suggests naturally a watchful feminine presence at a switchboard and a supplementary agency that in a few seconds can select from countless routes the one that best can take this speech to faraway places. These two words, long distance, represent more than the activities of switching and routing. they refer first of all to the routes themselves. These routes are special ones, supplied with equipment to make far speaking possible, however great the distance. Many of them provide direct wires for communication between busy centers as modern substitutes for switching interruptions of an older day. By connection with the local systems of every area in the land, they form the unified network that pulses with the flow of talk, expressing the activities of industry, agriculture, government, and the home life of the nation. And so, long distance means many things. Waves, wires, antennas, buildings. Many arts, many skills, many functions. A composite instrumentality ready for the task ahead. And giving this instrumentality life and energy is the spirit that moves men and women everywhere who undertake the duties of communication. It is the spirit that fights the storm and keeps the wires working, come sleet or snow or hurricane or flood. It is the spirit that speeds, in routine or emergency alike, the words that question, that answer, that decide, that summon aid or give it. It is the age-old tradition of the message bearer.
Long distance. Long distance.
The suburbs. Almost as much written about as Madison Avenue. And just as much in need of reflection. Like Madison Avenue, life in the suburbs has its good moments and others not so good.
Oh, no!
Discouraged? Disgruntled? Heck no. They're glad to be here. Remember? So they join the stream of family life in the suburbs, soon to become part of its familiar sights, soon to absorb its familiar sounds.
Anybody home?
These are what Red Book means by its young adults. People in a certain living situation with particular interests and particular goals. On their own for the first time, and determined not to miss a single new homemaking idea. They're busy just making choices, and welcome solid information in concise form. takes a while for a young couple to realize all they're in for when they buy a house or when they have a baby. And when they buy a house and have a baby, so hardly realizing it, they come into their purchasing stage and are off on a wild, non-stop ride. It's a happy-go-spending whirl, reflected in the windows of the suburban shopping centers where they go to buy. Red Book has been studying shopping centers because the people who created the suburbs are young adults, and the shopping centers are built in their image. Selling to young adults demands a new kind of marketing. For these young adults, the shopping centers have built fountains, commissioned statues, put in restaurants and freestanding stairways. They've included banks, loan offices, rental plans, plant nurseries, and places to buy building materials. The shopping centers see these young adults as people whose homes are always in need of expansion. People who buy in large quantities and truck it away in their cars. It's a big market. To help people find their cars, the centers have enlisted the children. They've put in shopmobiles to help them cover the ground. They've added banks of storage lockers, miles of checkout counters, and endless rows of carts. Carts rolling down the malls at Southdale, at Northland, at Gulfgate, Sunrise, and East Point, at Hillsdale in California. These young adults, shopping with the same determination that led them to the suburbs in the first place, are the goingest part of a nation on wheels. Living by the automobile, the first young adults in the age of the push button. Like the rest of life in suburbia, shopping has a family flavor.
Do you remember what size she was? 5. Then we bought a tree to go with it.
Yes, that was pretty nice.
I don't know. Shall I take it?
These busy families make the shopping centers look young and colorful. They have a let's go see quality that brings crowds to community events and promotions. For the children, whom the young adults have always at hand, there's plenty to do and see. While his family shops, a boy can catch a fish, ride the rides, go to the circus, visit the center zoo, and have his hair cut. And if that doesn't tire him out, his mother can put him in the center's nursery school, where he can get paint on his shirt, see his friends, and wear himself out on the bars. Since these young adults seem to be able to outlast their children, they stash them away at a neighbor's house and go back to the center for more. This is the life young adults lead.
And what are you planning for dinner, Mother? Here it is, expensively bottlenecked.
Hey, pal, what's the dough? Just keep rooting around. Load and unload, buddy. That's what to do, like a bunch of sheep.
With 54 million vehicles on our streets and roads today, 50% more than before the war, by 1975, they say we will be driving 85 million. 5 o'clock, USA.
Ah, for the life of a traveling salesman. Late for every appointment. This is the ulcer route.
Will you stop honking, Mac? We ain't going nowhere.
This is Agony Alley. Morning rush and evening wait. Fight your way home from work. You think you got it made. Good job, car nearly paid for. So you get a little home in the suburbs, away from the city smoke, out from the shadows of the factory, into the sun and clean air. Raise a few kids, some flowers and vegetables. The big dream coming true. But it backfires into a pipe dream. Exhaust pipe dream. Every night it takes longer to get home, wasting more time in gasoline. No wonder everybody's acting so nervous. What's a citizen gonna do?
Our American dream of Futurama on wheels can come true. Our highway engineers know the way. It's ours for the asking, if we'll ask and pay our way. Freedom of the road is as old as the first man and as new as this moment. Once we fought for it, through forest and river, wild animals and Indians, across desert and mountain range, and we won our right of way. Now there is another payment to be made on our freedom of movement. It's the price for growing greater than our biggest dream. Today, 2 miles of highway are wearing out for every one being built. And tomorrow, we'll have 1 million more drivers, not counting those in the back seat. The way ahead, is it to be a dead end or the green light?
Don't honk your horn. Raise your voice. Ask for better highways and more parking space. It's your country. To get the green light, write your state capital. Write Washington, D.C. Write your hometown officials. Postcard your newspaper editor. Call your radio and TV commentators. Support your highway officials. And when you vote, vote for your right of way. Don't honk your horn.
Raise your voice. It's your country. Give yourself the green light.
These are the acid tests of a vision of a world of plastics. A world that has already penetrated every home in the land. Today we can see a part of this world in beautiful draperies, in stainless tabletops that are so useful they are commonplace, in radios, in durable floor tiles, or a refrigerator that is clean and neat and colorful. It appears in containers that reveal their contents, in packages that keep fruit and vegetables from losing their flavor and moisture. But above all, it appears in beauty, in patterns of black and gold and silver. For more and more, America's top designers are turning to these adaptable materials. Embedded in them, the beauty of wood is preserved. In a chair formed of them, the comfort of a night's reading is assured. The new materials protect a man's clothing when he is home, and they can also guard it when he travels. In the household of today, they are present everywhere, preserving man's memory of nature in panels of wood, preserving his memory of himself and his desires and his hopes in the fine grooves of a phonograph record. And as a man works, they surround him like the servants of another age. The world of plastics is present everywhere. Yet this presence is but a premonition of a future world. Our children will see a bit of that world, and our grandchildren will not see the end of it.
This is the USA, where men buy and sell grain that hasn't even been planted, and bet their shirts that the goose will lay golden eggs forever. How's the market? What's cotton doing? Tell me about soybeans. What's the quote on 94 score butter? Buy me 2 carloads of potatoes, 3 tons of beef. We're rolling in plenty. The earth will always be fertile, the pastures thick, the rivers deep and wet. Who said they wouldn't? Get your order in now. When you come right down to it, can't you say that things look wonderful all over America if you look in the right places? Behold the fields of ripening wheat. Enough altogether to feed half the world and then some if we want to raise it. Look at the fattening steers. The poultry ready for market. The immeasurable wealth of the sea. Ship at once 4 carloads of lumber. Let's have an ocean of orange juice. And oh yes, keep the earth producing freight carloads of metals and minerals. Keep the oil flowing. But wait, can delivery be guaranteed forever? Is the world truly our oyster? Erosion steals land from the careless man. Thousands of square miles of U.S. pasture land is so thin that it takes 50 acres to raise 1 steer, 50 to 1. Good land will do the job 4 to 1. Every year, 10 million acres of trees and grass go up in flames. And insects destroy enough timber to build 1 million 5-room houses. Oil wells do go dry. And even though we're lucky rich in coal, we're not adding, we're subtracting. Add 1 airport, subtract a potato farm and 5 orchards. Add suburban expansion, subtract thousands of acres of choice land. You can't grow beans in driveways, parking lots, and subtract millions of bushels of grains and vegetables. The machinery keeps clawing and biting away, subtracting. It takes nature from 400 to 1,000 years to make 1 inch of topsoil. We can lose it in the wink of an eye.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow. Climb aboard. You are about to take a journey out of this world into the world of the future. Forget the world around you. Forget the people around you. You are entering Futurama, alone with your own thoughts. Have you ever wondered where we will find the food, clothing, and shelter we will need to sustain the world's exploding population in the years ahead? In the timeless distances of outer space, perhaps. The technology of today is already helping us penetrate the silent darkness of space. Man himself has taken the first tiny step into this vast unknown, and we can only imagine what resources will soon be brought back to Earth by these early pioneers. But what about our own Earth? Are there not still resources here to meet the needs of the world tomorrow? What about that great unexplored continent at the bottom of our Earth, larger than the United States and Europe combined? Already, Antarctica has become a great scientific laboratory for men of all nations to discover great new land areas rich with natural resources. Antarctica is but one area of great promise for the future. What about the others? What about the sea? We have long sailed its surface and fished its depths. But at the very bottom is a land of undreamed of abundance, with enough food to feed the Earth's population 7 times over. There are rich ores and minerals carried by submarine trains to process stations on the coast. There is the water itself, to be drained from the sea and made fresh as rain, to turn desert lands into fertile lands. There will even be new areas for living and working, a whole new dimension of life for people of the future. Now, consider the thick, lush lands of the equator. Here, nature flourishes in its greatest abundance. Technology has finally led the way into the wild profusion of the jungle world. One day, this land will be transformed into land for farms and pastures for cattle. From the abundance of equatorial jungles to the barrenness of great mountain ranges, the future offers great promise. Once barriers to man's progress, the mountains will soon be traversed by multiple highways that will soar over canyons and cut through towering walls of granite. They will carry a life stream of minerals and other natural resources to the thriving industries of tomorrow. Highways, too, will open up the great expanses of desert lands, one day to be made fertile again by waters pumped from sea and river, from dam and mountain stream. The highways from great new centers of agriculture and industry will lead inevitably to the metropolis of tomorrow. Access will be easy to the heart of the city, the core. In and around great cities like this will live many of the people of the future, a future of limitless hope and promise.